Local and live. Covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk TriState.
Welcome. Dan Dedona here with the localnews1.org weekly report for Hagerstown, Chambersburg, Smithsburg, Fairfield, Waynesboro, and all the communities that make up our local area. We're going to start off, as we always do, with 5 things to do this weekend. And we're going to add a couple onto the end this week because it's kind of a busy week. First up is the Fort Ritchie Community Center is having a spring craft bazaar where they're going to have 60 vendors who will showcase handmade, homegrown, one-of-a-kind creations for spring shoppers. The intent is to give visitors a chance to support local artisans and get a jump on Easter and Mother's Day shopping. This event is going to take place on Saturday, March 28th, that'll be tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 3 at 14421 Royer Drive in Fort Ritchie. Next up, the Blue Ridge Summit Library will be offering more than 200 vintage books, some dating back as far as 1840, for sale at prices that are well below comparable online editions. The sale will take place at the at the Blue Ridge Summit Library, Monterey Lane in Blue Ridge Summit, from 10:30 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. Also tomorrow, Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. You'll have an opportunity to browse rare and classic titles spanning over a century of published history. Number 3, the Jonathan Hager House Museum will be offering a view of spring traditions during the German Easter tours in Hagerstown. Visitors can uncover the origins of familiar customs, including why the Easter Bunny who was originally a she apparently, is said to lay eggs, and explore the folklore connecting Eastertide to German heritage. The guided tours will be offered at 10 a.m., noon, and 2 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, March 27th and 28th, and again on April 3rd and 4th at the same times. Cost is $5 per person with free admission for children under 12. The museum is located at 110 Key Street in Hagerstown. Fourth up, a taste of the museum and a flair for fashion are going to be coming together as Franklin County Visitors Bureau and the PEO Chapter BX hosts its annual Mediterranean Luncheon and Fashion Show. Their purpose is to raise funds for women's education scholarships. The event will be held on Saturday, March 8th. The doors will be opening at 10:30 a.m., and the show will be beginning at 11:30 a.m. That'll take place at 15 South Main Street in Chambersburg. You can also enjoy lunch, see fashions, here's looking at you, and take part in raffles and prizes. It's $25 at the door, and you can also reserve by calling Penny at 717-263-8529. And fifth up, we'll have some Hollywood glamour coming to Hagerstown. This is pretty a big deal. The Maryland International Film Festival is going to be returning from Thursday, March 26th, yesterday, and running through the 29th. And it'll be showcasing more than 100 films from around the world at 6 different venues in downtown Hagerstown. It'll be opening at the historic Maryland Theater, and they'll be inviting film fans, directors, and producers to connect in the heart of the city's arts and entertainment district. This is an event that's named by Movie Magazine as one of the top 50 festivals worth the entry fees. And it offers screenings, after parties, and networking opportunities for emerging talent and industry professionals alike. Tickets are $20 a piece. Get more information at marylandiff.org. Excuse me. Our sixth item, things that didn't make the initial list, the 43rd annual Waynesboro Area Cancer Auction is going to be taking place at Green Grove Gardens, 1032 Buchanan Trail East, and that's set for tomorrow, Saturday the 28th. The doors will be open at 3 p.m. Silent auction will start at 4, and the live auction begins at 5:30. This is really a huge event. These guys have raised over $2.6 million over the past 43 years, and that money, it was $122,000 last year. That money goes to support Breast Cancer Awareness Incorporated, Four Diamonds, WellSpan Oncology Bridge Fund, American Cancer Society, who sponsors one room at the Hope Lodge Baltimore and one room at the Hope Lodge Philadelphia, each for an entire year for cancer patients. The Live Strong Chamber YMCA, the Waynesboro YMCA Cancer Support Program, Cumberland Valley Breast Cancer Alliance, and the WACA Direct. These are really necessary functions that these guys provide. It's not the cancer treatment itself, but it's taking care of a lot of the logistics that's associated with the family that needs to be there. Where are you going to put them up? And it seems like small things, and it seems like the sort of thing that families ought to just suck up. But trust me, if you have to go to 15 or 20 different sessions for chemotherapy or radiation therapy or what have you, it's important to have this kind of support available to you, or it'll start to break you down. This is tough stuff. So great work by the Waynesboro Cancer Society. And last up, the history of the Mason-Dixon line is going to be explored by Ray Harbaugh, a Waynesboro resident, during a free program at 7 p.m. Tuesday, March 31st at the Waynesboro Theater at 75 West Main Street in Waynesboro. This is a local history presentation that's sponsored by the Waynesboro Industrial Museum, and it's going to feature stories that shaped the area in early America, including the fact that the Mason-Dixon line, which determines the boundary between Pennsylvania and Maryland, was engaged in 81 years of property disputes and property rights border conflict between the two states. They never did seem to manage to get it settled. So finally, when they finally decided that was the line, there are still artifacts out there. They actually put stones along that line to make sure that everybody understood exactly where it was. It was a big mess for 81 years. All right, moving on to recent news. We published 72 stories this past week. It's been a very busy week. We're going to start off with primary elections, which are coming up in April. And we're beginning our coverage with a list of those running in Washington County. We will have a future list for Franklin County, and to the extent that candidates will provide backgrounds and summaries of their positions, we will also be publishing those as well, where they are available. Second up, in the Voices section this week, an interesting piece by Senator Doug Mastriano of Pennsylvania. Of course, Pennsylvania is one of those states that has a relatively high gas tax, and they use that gas tax to pay for a lot of highway work in the state. Kind of the idea that if you drive it, you pay for it, which makes pretty good sense. Well, he's making a case here that considering that there are quite a few people who are struggling financially at this point in time, that it might not be a bad idea to at least consider temporarily suspending the gas taxes to take a little bit of pressure off of people in his constituents and constituents throughout the Commonwealth. So not a half bad idea. He doesn't address, well, how do you make up the difference in order to keep the highways maintained? To be determined, but it's worth mentioning that if you have a lot of people that are really struggling, that maybe this isn't such a bad idea, at least on a temporary basis. In Hagerstown, the city council was recently concerned that infrastructure was perhaps not keeping up with the rapid rate of growth in the Hagerstown area. The specific issue that brought this up was a request to rezone 8.79 acres in Hagerstown. They eventually approved the request, but not until after they had taken a look at how they do this, and what they determined was they're not really very far out ahead of these kinds of questions. They tend to react to them on a short-term basis. Personal experience of mine, I was located in Columbus, Ohio many years ago, and the city worked very closely with Ohio State University and a couple of corporations around the Columbus area I remember being part of, as a graduate student, I remember being part of a study that was taking a look at water demand for the next 15 to 25 years. And, well, that's the kind of scale that you need to be looking at if the demographics suggest that you're going to be growing a lot over 15 to 25 years. You can't be looking 5 weeks, 5 months, or even necessarily 5 years ahead. You really need to take a long view, and that takes effort. So they put some money toward a study to help them with that. They also, as a matter of fact, they approved $300,000 for a comprehensive plan update. Comprehensive plans are the kind of thing that are required every 10 years in the state of Maryland. So they will be proceeding with that. They also approved $60,000 in summer programs, and they considered future borrowing for waste treatment in the city. The mayor also mentioned that he would prefer some meaningful discussion about the ICE facility that is coming just south of Hagerstown, north of Williamsport. And right on time, Washington County had more information. A week ago that we reported that they had been in contact with the Department of Homeland Security and asked a number of questions. Well, they got more information that they provided this week. So the answer to the mayor's question is you should really talk to the Washington County people, because they have apparently assigned a staffer to make contact and find out what their intentions are. And during these conversations, they found that one of the questions was, well, we think this is going to put a strain on our infrastructure. There's not enough water or sewage and so on. They said, well, we'll take care of the infrastructure that's necessary to support our facility. So they're in for that. There was also a concern that the existence of the processing center is going to be is potentially going to have an impact in lowering revenues for the county and possibly others in the area. Homeland Security says, well, we will make you whole. If you're losing income because of our operation, then we will pay you. We'll make sure that doesn't hurt you. In other business, believe it or not, Washington County didn't spend their entire meeting talking about ICE. They also approved $15.1 million in highway funds. So they're very busy. Also along the lines of ICE, the district judge over in Baltimore, who had established a no work order, has extended that order till the 16th of April. The Governor Moore and a lady by the name of, I guess she's a representative, April Delaney, both sponsored a roundtable on the 23rd of March. If only they could have waited until the Washington County meeting, they probably could have answered a number of the questions that they were open to discussing with people. Could have had actual facts. Of course, that begs a different question. Why didn't, if a staffer in Washington County government can pick up the phone and get in touch with ICE and get answers to questions that concern local people, why couldn't the governor do that? I assume they would probably respond to him if he called and he just wanted the answers to some serious questions. Begs a question. Anyway, there are more issues that were addressed in a separate piece on Washington County. In Franklin County, there is a power line case that has been simmering in the courts for many years. The issue was Washington, D.C. said that it needed more electrical power. And they had made arrangements to see to it that some power was delivered from, I think it was from Niagara. Excuse me. And of course, there would need to be high voltage power lines installed. Those power lines were going to follow the existing right of way for existing power lines. Nonetheless, there was a lot of concern about the long-term impact of having high tension power lines in an agricultural area. So they filed a suit, a local group called a community call to action, which is having a meeting on the 6th of April at 16:30 to discuss this even more. But their concern was that these high voltage lines are going to damage sustainable agriculture in Franklin County. More to follow on that, but they're going to the Supreme Court, and we will soon see how that turns out. In Chambersburg, PennDOT is upgrading traffic lights. They're going to start doing that on the 30th of March, and they'll be continuing to do that through July. It's not exclusively in Chambersburg, but it's going to be addressing, Chambersburg is impacted. It's also going to address traffic lights on Route 11, Route 30, Route 316, Norland Avenue, and also locations in Greene, Hamilton, and Guilford Townships. There will be flagging. This work will be done during the day, so there will be flagging. They'll be reducing it down to one line of traffic at a time. And for those activities that have to do with the ramps for Interstate 81, that work will be done at nighttime. In Smithsburg, they have resumed the discussion of their aging water infrastructure. We reported previously that they had gotten a grant for, I think it was $2.4 million, and then was subsequently told by a consultant that that wasn't going to be enough. So they're still talking about that. A lot of their discussion this past time had to do with water rates. They're also looking at additional debt or grants to figure into the mix. But a point was made that in order to get additional loans or even to get grants, most people usually expect you to have an adequate amount of skin in the game, meaning the local residents need to be helping to pay for this. So it was mentioned in the meeting that there's going to be a 14% increase in water fees coming up this year. So more to follow on that. I don't know how the community feels about that, but we'll try to cover it as best we can. In Washington County, the schools had a budget hearing. Apparently this was mainly teachers and staff coming in to talk about pay and health benefits. These were in fact the key issues, that the county is apparently offering a 1% pay increase, but teachers and staff are pointing out that healthcare costs have gone up by 10%. So they're taking a hit just to pay for their insurance. More to follow on that. In Franklin County, the Senior Community Grant Program is offering grants of anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 to eligible people. The eligibility criteria are in the article in localnews1.org. Main thing we wanted to pass on, that applications for these grants are due by the 8th of May. You can find all the details in the story in Local News 1. In Easter festivities, there are a lot of them coming. Local News just recently published a long list of events that are taking place all over our coverage area. So you name it, Chambersburg, Greencastle, Hagerstown, Waynesboro, Fairfield. If there's an event, we've got some from all of those. If there are others, please call them in. We'd be happy to advertise your event so people can come and participate. Greencastle, and another bit of good news for Greencastle in particular, their rescue hose company got $16,000 in unclaimed property from the state of Pennsylvania. Of course, this is something that Secretary Garrity has been doing for a couple of years now. Changed the rules so that the state wouldn't be sitting on literally hundreds of millions of dollars of unclaimed property. So they've worked it out so that they can notify people, says, hey, we're releasing this property to different organizations. And in this case, $16,000 worth of property is being released to Rescue Hose in Greencastle. And it's of course, these kinds of contributions are just a great assistance to volunteer fire organizations all over the state of Pennsylvania. In police news, this is interesting. This next story is interesting for a variety of reasons. First of all, there's a Chambersburg police officer who's facing charges of theft, disorderly conduct, and harassment. It had to do with an incident concerning his teenage daughter, who had become estranged from her father for at least a year before this took place. A teenage daughter and her cell phone. Apparently the officer was trying to take the cell phone away, something that had been provided to the young lady by her boyfriend. She resisted this. That makes it interesting all by itself. But the other interesting thing is this event took place on the 7th of January, 2025. We really do need to work with the police departments to get more timely information on these kinds of activities. I mean, it's all well and good to be chasing down people that are doing rotten things, but the community needs to know a little more rapidly what's going on. Simple explanations. They don't have to try and prosecute the people right there on the spot, but they should at least fill in the details about what happened and where the process goes from there. Under People News, the Chambersburg YMCA swim team, girls team in particular, won the state championship among all the Ys in the state. This is the first time that a Chambersburg swim team has taken a state championship in 70 years that they've been in existence. In Waynesboro, Buttonwood Nature Center received a Partner for Impact Award from the Franklin County Visitors Bureau at their 17 March breakfast. The Cumberland Valley Business Alliance celebrated local achievements at an awards breakfast recently. 200 people attended. A number of people, Carrie Gray, Star Insurance, Cumberland Valley Animal Shelter, and others all won awards at that event. You can see more about that in the article. And in health news, Meritus is welcoming 6 more students to their next class for the 5-year programs. Their programs are run 3 years for family medical residencies, 4 for psychology residencies, and 5 years for surgeons. There are now currently, in addition to these, including these 6, there are now 16 people in the Meritus program. A pretty good production. Okay, we're gonna cut off the news right there. We don't want to go too long. You can also see there's local history that we publish every single Tuesday. The Writings of Dargan Boy on Thursdays. We have a spectacular array of sports, including football, soccer, baseball for this time of season. Gymnastics is wrapping up. Auto racing has begun. Running. We've also got crossword puzzles, theatrical activities, animal care, obituaries. Just all manner of things that'll help you to know what's going on in your immediate vicinity. We are very proud to be the news source for Verstandig Media, and you can see all the local news in localnews1.org. It's all local. We don't do any national news. If there's a national story that has an impact here, like this ice facility, we cover that. But our interest is in the local implications, not in jumping aboard a national bandwagon. So with that, we will move to the thought of the day. A police car recently lost its wheels to a thief. The police are now working tirelessly to nab the suspect. Bada bing. Have a great week.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Tri-State, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.